Hello everyone. Today I'm doing a short video, or that is, I hope it's a short one, on what you will need when you start your journey with resin. So what is resin? Resin is a chemical that will harden when mixed with a hardener. Or in case of UV resin, if you put it under a UV light, it will harden. So, the most important thing when working with resin is safety first. The first thing you do is make sure you have gloves. That's the first thing. Make sure you have a respirator. And let me just say, I bought this one at the hardware store. It's very, very important. Safety first. It doesn't matter how safe they reckon the resin is. Always wear your mask, wear gloves, and protect yourself. Wear protective clothing so it doesn't come in contact with your body. And make sure that you have windows open in the room that you're using, or a door if it goes to the outside. I also have an air purifier going always in the room when I'm doing any resin, as well as the windows open and the front door open, because my room is right in the front of the house, so I can leave my door open. So the next thing, what resin to use? Well, that it all depends, of course, on what you are doing. You have low viscosity, medium viscosity, high viscosity resin. I think to start off, if you are doing small things, well, it all depends on how deep they are. I started off with a low viscosity resin. And yes, it takes a bit longer to dry because it's low viscosity, but I found that I work best to start off with it. You should buy small quantities and just dry them out, because resin really depends on your room, how hot it is, the humidity in your room, on how it's going to work. So whatever works for me doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to work for you also. So you have to find what is best for you. So I suggest buy small quantities of resin, try them out, see which one you prefer, and stick to that. Then, of course, what pigments? What pigments should I use? What equipment do I need? You know what? You don't need that much equipment. You can buy these at the dollar store cheaply, just to mix. Or these. They're all good for mixing. Or these little jugs when you're mixing bigger quantities. Right? At the start, I actually use, because I do a lot of paintings. I also do acrylic art, so I use these. But you can only use very, very small amount, because if you use more, the resin will flash cure on you. You can only use a very, very small quantity. I think I had it in here somewhere. Excuse me, I've got a frog in my throat today. So anyway, so these are quite cheap, all right? So now, what colors? What can I use for coloring? As I showed you, you can use even acrylic paint. But you can also get these very cheaply from the dollar store. These are from Kmart here in Australia, and they were quite cheap, right? They're coloring. coloring for resin dye. I also have these. These were bought from Harry and Wilma here in Australia. They were quite cheap. And you got a set of 24 colors, right? Also, of course, when you decide to buy more stuff, you can buy acrylic inks. And these I bought in, not in Bay. Hold on. Sorry, I'm back. So you can get these on Amazon. But you can get other stuff. Of course, there is pigments you can use, right? And these, of course, are more expensive. Pigments are a paste. But to start off, you don't need to have all of these. That's when you are further in your journey. To start off, you can use any acrylic ink that you have at hand. But remember that you can only use a very small amount or it will flash cure on you. So the rule of thumb is 6% of the total volume of resin, right? Now, when mixing resin, make sure that you mix thoroughly. Otherwise, you will get patches that will not cure properly. What can I use for mixing? You can buy these at the dollar store. They come in packs, really cheaply. Look, see? $2 for a whole pack. Right? Or they have the little ones, which I use for these little cups. Now, when mixing, make sure that you scrape the sides really thoroughly and the bottom. Right? Mix the resin to the specification on the bottle. If they tell you to mix it for 3 minutes, mix it for 3 minutes, making sure that you're scraping the sides and the bottom of the cup. If they say for 5 minutes, do it for 5 minutes. It is very important, otherwise you will have patches when it sets that are not correct or sticky. So what do I use to clean the utensils? I use baby wipes and isopropyl alcohol. If you have an accident and it goes on your skin or your hands, wash it thoroughly with soapy water. Never mix 2 different brands of resins, as they can be tricky, as each brand has their own mixing ratios. And also it can cause for the resin not to set properly. Right, to remove bubbles. These are quite cheap from eBay. And preferably use a small one, not a big one, because if you are using these little molds that you can get from eBay or Temu, they're quite cheap, and to start off they're good because, you know, you don't want to spend an arm and a leg to start off. You want to start little and grow. As you get better at it, you buy better stuff. But you have to be careful because If you use this a lot, resin will stick to it and you will not be able to take it off. It will be stuck to the mold and the mold will break off when you're trying to take it off. So that's one thing to remember. That's the problem with cheap molds. And also they don't last as long. Right? They lose their shine really quickly, like this one, for instance. See how it's lost the shine? Right? They go opaque really quickly. Right? And later on you can get better molds, which there are many people that sell molds that, as you can see, are much better quality. Right? And they last longer. But to start off, start small. Buy cheap molds, start small, practice, and as you get better, increase the amount. Increase the things that you have, right? And I suggest watch as many videos from YouTubers as you can. I can't stress that enough. I must have watched that many when I was starting off, and I'm telling you that I learned most of what I know by watching YouTubers and what they have. Other things that you will be able to buy later on, makeup powders. Right, and this one was quite cheap. It's from Paper Mill. I don't think they have them anymore because I think they've been discontinued, but they were quite cheap. Crushed glass beads. Also you can get from the dollar store. Look, cheaply. The same goes for glitter. You can start off by buying some glitter from the dollar store. They are quite cheap, and you will find that they have a big variety of glitter. So, start small. Don't go crazy buying stuff. Experiment. Watch videos. And you will find that you will grow. And I hope that I haven't forgotten anything. But basically, that's all you will need to start off. All right, I showed you a lot of things that you can buy, but you do not need them to start off, as I said. All right, you will only need very little to start off until you are better at it. And then as you can, and of course according to your budget, because let's face it, budget is a very important thing. We can't always afford to go crazy buying. I personally have a small budget, all right, but slowly I have been buying until I had the things that I needed. All right, so here I'm going to show you how much I would put for a small little cup. See that? Look how much I've got here. On this cup, if I had it almost full, that's how much I would put. I wouldn't put any more than that. And then, if I thought it wasn't dark enough, I would add just a tiny more, but no more than that, because, like I said to you, it would flash cure on you. So I would only use that amount when using acrylic inks. You have to be very careful, because if you put a lot, it flash cures. And that's it for me for today. Don't be discouraged. We all have failures. It's a part of the journey with resin and trying new things. Happy resining. Bye for now.